So welcome to Bunny's Designs. This is a live stream with live peoples all having a nattering chat. It's recorded for Ustream.tv and also for YouTube for people to watch at their leisure. Now, I have 3 Derwent art bags, and I love these little art bags because I've got rid of all my tins. Now, I haven't thrown them away, they're actually packed away, but I've still got the tins, but they're not heavy in my studio. And that means if I want to work in pencils, I have my ink tins and watercolour bag, and I have the tools at the front in the pockets that I want for those. If I want to work in my pastels, pencils, I've got all my pastel pencils in this bag, and these hang up as well, so they can hang up behind a door, so you don't even have to put them anywhere in particular. And if I want to work in my Neo art bars or Neocolor 2s, my Derwent art bars, I use this one. And at the moment, my art bars are next to me. And I'm in the process of putting my other water-based crayons in this one. But when I'm working on my desk, I like to have them handy. So I empty the bag and I put the sleeves on my desk and I flip them. But if you're using them on a colour book page, you need a piece of photocopy paper underneath, because that was this morning's clean page, and every time you touch these, a little bit of colour comes off. So you do it gently, and when they're in my art bag, they actually sit like this. So on the first page, I have my whites, light greys, dark greys, warm greys, browns and reddy browns. I have my cold yellows, warm yellows, oranges, reds, pinks, purples, purpley blues, dark blues, and then on the back I have my light dark greens and olives. And I really like that. I know where they are, and they're in the same colour order as they are in my little book of colours. And it just makes it easier that, you know, you open it up, you've got all your greys, light at one side, dark at the other, all the light yellows, all the oranges, all the cold reds, all the warm reds, all the pinks and all the purples. So I just kind of like my colours in that kind of colour scheme. So when I open them up, they sit like this. And then I have a colour page. So this particular one, I'm working slightly differently. I've decided that all the other colour books, I open them up and I choose a page I want to colour. And then I'll go to another one I want to colour. And then if there's some that I don't like, I then go buy another colour book. So I decided that I really want, and then of course I forget about I've got this book. So what my idea is that I've got 4 Hannah Carlson's colour books. And I decided that it's because it's got more of a booky feel, I'm going to start at the first page and I'm going to work through it page by page. I'm going to number my little page with a tiny little pencil number, and then I'm going to bullet journal in the bullet journal desk diary. I'm going to have the Hannah Carlson Seasons colour book, and I should be putting page 1 was, can't remember. This is why I need to do it. Page 2 was, I think I can't remember. This was ink tense. Sorry, I beg your pardon. This was Hydrus watercolour. So that's what I want to do. So if I look at a page, think, oh, I actually quite like these colours. can't remember what they are, I can look at the desk diary, look under the Hannah Carlson book, and look at the colours that I've used. And that's going to help me. And then also working from page 1 to 2 to 3, it's going to make me want to finish and not miss a page out as well. That's another thing that I wanted to do. So I also thought that if, and I've never done this before, one thing we do need is a piece of photocopy paper to go over there. Is especially with the pencils, any water-based medium, if it's pencil or pastel or crayon, as long as it's water-based, you can scratch some colour in, and instead of colouring it straight away, you can just scratch the colour of a few books, a few pages, 1 page, 2 pages, or you could do the whole book with your colours. And then you can leave the colours at home and just take your book on a water brush. And then you can manipulate the colour with the brush and colour it in while leaving these at home. It's a kind of a halfway measure between making this little book. Instead of transferring the colour to here, then to here, you're transferring the colour, but you're not activating it with water. But if you do that, you need to protect the opposite page, because obviously this colour will rub off. So I thought I'd have a practice at that. I hope that makes sense. I thought I'd have a practice and see what happens. Excuse me. So have we got any questions? Quick slurp of coffee. So sometimes I've worked by scratching a little bit of colour and then using a water brush or a rigger, I've manipulated the colour to give a watercolour effect. Now most of the time I'm working with these brushes at the moment because my hands are really bad, and these sit quite nicely and allow you to work. They're a Derwent #1 and #2 water brush, and they're quite 2 different sizes. So that's for a big space and this is for a tiny space. And if you, I like them because you can put the tops on the end as well, because I'm a bit of a fanatic about that. But that weight gives it a nice weight, and they're easy to use if you've got arthritis or if your hands aren't very well, or if you want to colour all day. This way you can colour all day and your hands are not going to hurt. And I was just looking for a baby wipe. Somebody's been in my... I cannot wait for next week. Normally I've always said I love my children at home. I love them at home in the summer holidays and I never want them to go back. But this year, I can't wait for the little monsters to go back. And they are 19 and a half and 17 and a half. Right. And anything that I have is theirs. And they've taken the baby wipes. Now I normally have some hidden. I have to hide everything. It's like having toddlers again. But they were actually very good as toddlers. So sorry about the crinkle. Right, so baby wipe. And fold my baby wipe. So I will be doing this with the water brush, but you can do it with anything else. I've just realised I don't need a water brush yet, do I? I don't need the baby wipe either. I'll just pop that back in there to keep nice. So my idea is the old-fashioned, like when you were children, you just had a water brush and you touched the page and it came to life. And that's my idea. So we have a little birdie here. I think I'm going to do these a pinky colour. So how I normally work is I scratch a little bit of colour If you need a sharp edge, I'll zoom in a minute, but you can use the hard edge on that side. Apologies for the quality, but my laptop is playing naughty. And just see if I can kind of to see if I can see if that's in focus. Hopefully it is. So this one is number Raspberry Red 270, and I'm working in Seasons by Hannah Carlson. So by scratching a little bit of this pinky colour here, and I'm going for a kind of a watercolour effect, so I want kind of really rich deep colour on the inside and then kind of pale by the time we get up here. So I'm working in Hannah Carlson's Seasons, with my Neocolor 2s. And this particular one is Raspberry Red number 270. So I'll pick out all the flowers, and I just want to scratch a little bit of colour. Now everybody that's used the Neos knows that they're very creamy and soft, so I'm not putting a lot of pressure on there. And if I need a sharp edge, I want to get into there. And the same with this one and that one. But I want to manipulate this colour so that by the time it's out there, it's a lovely soft pink. Now it doesn't look raspberry red at the moment, so I thought, well, what you could do is, see, if you were going away somewhere and you didn't want to take the Neos with you, and you didn't want to make a book, a travel colour book like mine, a watercolour travel book, you could scratch the colour in here. I mean, you'd have to have a decent idea of what you wanted to do. And so we put the colours in there. Put the colours in there. Can you come here, please? You get in there. Tex, come here. In there. Alfie, come here. Alfie, come here. Alfie, come here. Come here now. Come here now. Come on. Get into that seat. Get into there now. Oops, move. So. Scribble colours in here. And and 3 at the top. Oh, they're different. So I'm going to go for, I'm going to go for a yellow. So I'm going to, oh, I might want a bit of colour in the middle here. Go for a bit, don't want too pale. I'm going for number 20 golden yellow. And I'm just going to put the tiniest scratch of yellow. As near to the near side as I can. And then I'm going to put number 300 is fast orange. And if you don't have a point, use the corner there. And again, I don't want much colour, I just want a tiny touch, tiniest amount. Now normally I don't do small spaces like this. I use my little watercolour travel book, but I'm not having anything with me, so I can't do that. And then I have an orange. I think I'm going to go with Vermilion Red, which is number 60. And I'm going to put a dot, literally one dot of colour. It's just, oh, I can't get the camera to work. One dot of colour in the centre. See if I can just get that much better. Having to use a track mouse, which bubbles all over the place because my touch pad has gone on my laptop, so apologies for that. Just made you all thick. And literally just a dot. So I think these are going to be kind of cadmium red. But this one is number 70 Scarlet. And again, I think I'm just going to put a dot. Not very much. So where I can find a line for hatching, across hatching, I'm putting the tiniest square of colour. And there's only 4, oh, there's 2 down here, so there's 1 there. And 1, there isn't one at the other side because it's hidden, which it wouldn't be if it was drawn in, but strange. Right, so put that one back into there, and I need a green. Let's look at all my greens. I'm going to have, if I have an olive, it will turn into olive brown. So I've got olive brown number 39, and I've got number 49 raw umber. And I'm also going to use olive number 249. So I've got 3 colours here. This is for the wood, and this is for the leaf, and then this is for the highlight of the wood. There seems to be another line going on. So every leaf is going to get at the base a little bit of this green. So we have a bit of a leaf here. And then that's not a leaf. This is a leaf. And it's really good if you've got pulley hands as well, because you can just about scratch a little bit of colour in there. So that's a leaf, that's a leaf. Just follow them round and put a little bit of this where we think it would go. So I think the top of all the curls he ran, I said come here, he ran the opposite direction. So when I went after him, he ran into something because he knew he'd be in trouble. He's such a bad puppy. So I want to put like a bit of a highlight on these. So the idea is that we have kind of a bit of a, should have probably done it a different colour, I think. But this is just a practice because I've never done this before, so I don't really know what I'm doing. So I've gone all round to see if I can scratch this colour at one side. Gone all the way around with this colour. So I just missed, just bear with me 2 seconds. Oh, fantastic, Suzanne. I haven't seen that one. I'll have to have a look for that one. So put the other two colours away. So we've got olive brown and olive, number 249. And then now I've got raw umber. So I'm going to put as near to the underneath line as I can. I'm going to put a smidgen of colour for there. And it is just a kind of a bit of a mark, because these are so soft, these now this is going to be fairly strong. I don't think it's going to be wishy-washy at all, because of even trying to get a small amount of colour. The one thing I'd forgotten about though is smudging it with my hands, so maybe that's something to think about, is to make sure your hand stays on paper. So just scratch, and if you're not sure where it's going, scratch. Oh, I shouldn't have done that. I was going to do that a different colour, but never mind. I intended to do that a pale green, but I forgot to do it, so that's fine. So I'll have to do all of them that colour now. So back to the top, and kind of like green ochre number 25. So that's going to be at the bottom. And then I've got light ochre 32, which will go across the top. And then we're going to look at the bird, and I think this one is number 245 light olive. I think I'm going to put that one in there. And at the top of every leaf, I think I'm going to put a little bit of this. And each rose and if you put your hand on it now, you will smudge it, because it's a near colour too, it's full of colour. So I think I've been round everything. Got some little pearl drops down here. Oh, sorry. Things in the way. I think I'll colour those in turquoise green, number 191, and trying to put a dot at one side, just a little bit of colour. Now the bird, I think the bird is going to be blues, so I think I'm going to put a bit of colour here. I think that colour is going to go in there. Again, I think This is going to be quite a nice colour. Now this is where you can put some colours together if you want to, so you can kind of experiment with these colours and think about how you're going to put the damp brush, how it will activate the purple and the greens. And you don't really want too much, because you should know that these are extremely vibrant colours. So even though it looks very kind of childish at the moment, it's not going to look like that. Hopefully not. Hopefully not at the end. Right, so I think I'm going to do these slightly different blue. And this one's gorgeous. This is called Blue Jeans number 155. This is quite a nice colour, so I think we'll have a bit of that in there. And this one is 160 Cobalt Blue. And so it's very strange putting colours on things and not pushing them in. Oh, sorry, can you not hear me? I don't have a proper microphone at the moment, sorry. And we have the next one is Royal Blue number 130. And I think I'm just going to kind of, I think I'll put the dark at the bottom, and then it'll get lighter as it gets to the top. I think that's the best thing for that. And I can put these dots through as well. Just a touch of this at the end. And I'm sure that there'll be a colour left somewhere. When you realise how little colour you normally use, there is an awful lot of colour on here, and it's very vibrant. and then perhaps a little bit there. And there probably is going to be a little bit of yellow beak. But I like this one, Chinese green, which is a very vibrant, bright yellow. So I'm really sorry. I don't have a microphone, so I don't think this is going to work. Let's see if I can. Pan out of it, and you can see. So I've scratched the colour in. I've just scratched the colour in. Now if I moved it across like with my fingers, I would smudge it. So in order to protect this page at this side, in order to do that, I'm going to put this over the top. There's two pieces there, so what I can do, and in order for it to sit really nice, I can do this and turn the page and trap it, and you can even put a little bit of sticky if you wanted. So that means that that colour is not going to get onto this page. So that's ready to colour. I'm going to have some pales here and some darker tones, and it's going to be a bit of a surprise. There's two things I'm not doing. The key and the little bits on the end, because they're too small. So they're the only two bits. And the stamens, I'm just thinking, shall I do the stamens? No, could do it. A colour that I like. I've got a carmine which I like. This is Bordeaux. On here I should have a carmine. Crimson, is it? No, I think that was carmine. Let me have a look. Indian red. This one is carmine number 80. And I'm going to put the tiniest little spot. And it is just a dot. And we really have no way of knowing what that's going to look like until we've actually coloured it in. So the idea is you do this, and you can do it neater than I can do it, really. You could do this with watercolour pencils, you could do this with ink tens, you could do this with pastel. This is how I do the pastel, and then you could leave it. And we could go to this one. So you could do the entire book, or you can do different books. Is that a bit better, Suzanne? Sorry. The thing is, if I start to shout, I cough. I'll try. So there's some grey clouds up there. So I've got there is a blue that I quite like. I think I may use that one. I like. Oops, left one out. and it's always at the top of my blues. I like Indigo Blue, number 139. And so again, think about, do you want any highlights? Now you couldn't colour this in, well you could, but there'd be no point colouring the whole of this in because the neos are too pigmented, they're well pigmented. So if you just put a little bit underneath, what you can do with this, so underneath, I want the top bit to be a highlight. So everywhere I have a highlight, I'm going to put this underneath. And then where I want it to be the darkest, I'm going to put a little bit more colour. And this is how you're going to keep these clouds from clunking into each other, kind of thing. And believe me, it'll look fine because this colour is so strong. It really is. Now this might take a bit of practice to get it just right, but you should get some nice highlights. You're just scratching a little bit of colour. And then we're leaving it. We're just leaving it and going somewhere else now. But remember, that will smudge. Again, I think I want a bit of a highlight on that bit there. So now you've got to think of sky. And I think there is a sky blue. Just a minute. It's a light blue. This one isn't named, so it's not very helpful, is it? There's a light blue, and that's more water. So I'm actually going to use white, and I don't normally use white, but I kind of like the idea. Oh, well, first of all, where I want to highlight, I can scratch some white. And you're not going to see this until... One thing you're going to need is a piece of paper to protect your hand. Because they're really well pigmented, these. So you're obviously going to be thinking about colour and having some highlights and some low lights. So I think in here is going to be a bit kind of blue. And then once you get a lovely flat edge on that crayon, it's going to behave itself quite well. And also this is also blue as well. And remember, this is going to go a long way, so we really don't want too much. I think I want some. Can you put her muzzle on, please? I don't know, can you put your muzzle on, please? Thank you. I had to get Alfie out because Gigi doesn't have a muzzle on. And because he used to bite the back of her legs when he was little, she's got... Oh, another one's just doing... Gigi! Come on, Jigs. Piggles! Good girl. Just got to make sure she's got a muzzle on because she's a bit of a grumpy girl. And it's Alfie's own fault, bless him. Oh, I nearly went under there then. So I've got some white there and white there. So I'm going to go over here and then put this blue in everything. Apologies, it's feeding time at the zoo. So I'm going to scratch all this. And remember, it's not going to finish looking like this. It's just to get some colour. And it's good to work left to right or right to left, depending if you're left-handed or right-handed. And then you're not working on your work. That's all I needed, a telephone call. So apologies, this is a live stream with live people and a live telephone and live dogs. And the quality of my videos is crap. But hopefully there's a bit of content in there that's worth watching. So apologies for this. And unfortunately live means no editing, so it gets just uploaded. And I would like a little bit of variation to there, but obviously where the sea is, you normally get the deepest colour. So without being too realistic, I'm just going to put a bit of that on there. And then put a little bit of white in there. Can't see this, but when it hits it, it'll give it a bit of variation. And then we just want to break that up a bit. And believe me, these scribbles completely dissolve the minute you start touching with colour. Oh, hi Montana, welcome to Bunny's Designs. Hi Bob. Anybody else I've missed? Cheshire Cat. Welcome to Bunny's Designs. So that's that colour. So I've got the sky. And that one was actually light blue 161 and white. So we'll just pop those back now. And I really wanted to use these sea kind of greeny blues. So we've got two blues. This one isn't numbered, sorry, it isn't named, but it's numbered 171. I think that's the one I've just used, isn't it? 171. No, 161, so it's near it. And then I've got turquoise green 191. So we've got this kind of going on here. And I'll probably do those in gouache or Posca pen a bit later, seeing as I've found quite a few of them. So I think we've just got a little bit of this going on here. And possibly just a smidgen of the blue. And then I think everything else could be possibly white, maybe, not sure. And this, I am looking at what I'm doing, but it's just scribbling. Anybody that's done this with these in this particular way will know that it's a case of just putting a tiny bit of colour, and all the artistic ability is in the brush work. That's when you kind of manipulate the water and dilute the colour. But this way, I thought you could just see how you could use your Caran d'Ache colour 2s without physically taking them out. And so you can use these neos. And I did actually think that the blue would go further down. So I thought it'd be kind of darkish and then paler. Oh, and I can't be bothered with those things. I'll be there all day. I don't mind the fishes, but the bubbles will get on my nerves. And you do have to keep an eye on what you're scribbling on, because it's very easy to get carried away and then you've lost something that's quite important. And of course, because it's a neo, there's no reason why you can't then put two colours together. So you can put as many colours together as you want. Now, this probably wasn't the best picture to do because there's a lot of tiny things going on here. And obviously, I'd like it to be the darkest further down. And again, this is all brush work. This is all going to be brush work. Quite like the idea of this bit. Having that green tint. And you won't notice until you start to mix these two colours together. And I'm going to go in there very carefully. It might just be a line. As it does look extremely rich. Now I can go around these and I can still get colour in, but I'm obviously going to use the brush for this. I'll be using brush work. And if you wanted to mix lots of colours in here, you can put a bit of blue in it, purple in it. And this colour will be going around everything, but it will be on the paintbrush. Remember, these are very strong colours. So once I get all these going, it's going to be a lot stronger. We can put, again, you've got to remember now to put your hand on there, because the warmth of your hand will melt the crayon into a watercolour and you will make a smudge. So you've got to be a bit careful when you're doing that. So again, we want to go down here now. And then, there we go, down here. So we can do that. And then around the fish. And again, you just want a scribble because it's the brush that's going to melt all that scribble into the most beautiful colours. So what have we got now? So we've got that kind of done. I'll put these away and then we can put the next colour on, and that will be good. So now we need to look at coral colours now. And we've got some unusual colours, but we've got some pinks and corals. So we could have some of this colour coming on here. And again, you don't need much. It looks like real scribble, but it's going to all come out in the wash. It'll be fun. So you just want to look for coral colours, and again, if there's a bit of cross hatching, you know to put colour there. Follow that down. And we could have, now I wanted, that's vermilion. I think I want red flame for the fish. So I'm going to put a scratch of colour on the fish. And it might take a bit of practice to get it on the inside. So if you don't know where an edge is, use a bigger fish and touch. Where it touches, you can then start to do the little diddy ones. And believe me, the small Derwent water brush, I'll melt that colour into a fantastic watercolour, because the Neos and all the others just melt. Now, if you can't do the tiny ones, you can leave them, because by the time you've touched all the orange, you're going to have orange on the end of your water brush, and so then you can just touch the little tiny diddy ones that are really difficult to get to with a crayon. So again, I've got these two, because there is an awful lot of colour on this page, 10 times more than I normally use, so they are not going to be insipid at all. Right, so I think we've got, oh, there's a fish there. And again, with the Cubby Roseannes, you have to kind of fuff about a bit. This is they're like the other ones that I have, so I'm going to I want some watercolour effects. So a little bit at the bottom, and then I'm going to draw the colour out. I think they're going to be purple in colour. And I think actually they're going to be marine, but I think royal blue is actually purplier, so a little bit of royal blue for the what's it, fish. So I'm going to put the purple away. I don't think I want any more purple. Need some kind of coral colours. That could be pink. This could be orange. I just can't think of any colours for coral at the moment, so if you couldn't, you can Google it. I think most of them are quite bright. And of course it's a watercolour, so there's no reason when you come back and think, oh, I wish that was stronger, or I'm not sure what colour I've done that, why I've done that colour. You can always go over your coral when you come back. But the idea is that you are colouring a book with colour. perhaps this wasn't one of the best ones to do. And we've got palm trees. I might leave the colour, the coral, but you've got the idea of the coral. Sorry about the noise. Alfie's got his face in his dish, so it's feeding time at the zoo. So I've got, again, got to remember to put a piece of paper over there now, because it will, I don't know what colour palm trees are, I can't remember, so scratch a bit of olive colour in there. And then I've got dark olive for and if you scratch the colour at one side, you will have a highlight at the other. There's a witch's broom sticking out, so I'm not quite sure what that's for. If you put colour in the middle, you can draw that colour out and have highlights, or you can manipulate it to go half one colour, half another colour, which I did with the bird. So this is a fairly nice way to get a colour in if you're going away and you don't want to take the neos. You can do this with direct watercolour pencils, you can do it with art bars, you can do it with neos, you can do it with intense blocks, you can do it with pastels, pastel pencils. You can do this with almost any water-based medium if it's a pencil and if it's a crayon. With a bit of greenery on here as well. So, and again, if you just put it at the bottom, so you can then, wherever you are, you can do some colouring, and all you need is your colour book and you just need a colour book and a water brush. Oh, now it's going in all the other dishes now. So really quick, and then what you do is, now you would have to have 2 pieces of paper for these because they're wider. So this will smudge, so we put that there and we put that there, and then we shut the book. Now if you wanted to, you could kind of do that, and so you go off, you leave these at home, and you go off with your colour books full of colour. You can do 1 page, 3 pages, you can do them all. The carman says behind there. And then what you do is, if you have 2 colours, 2 sizes of water brush, a thick one and a thin one, you should be fine. Then you open your page, and there isn't actually anything that's contaminated, but you know, it might have come off. Yeah, there's a little bit here, look. That would have been on your page here, so it's better that it's on this page, especially the purple. You know, it would have been all over her face, so you can do that. Yes, he's enjoying his food, sorry about that. Right. Thank you for feeding the dogs. Sorry about that, it's feeding time at the zoo. Oh my goodness, outdoors and dogs today. Right, and then all you do is you start wherever you are. Oh, for goodness sake! All you do then is you take your brush and you start to colour as normal and manipulate the colour to have a watercolour effect with a barely damp water brush, and then your pages stay nice and thin. And if you did your whole book like that, then you could colour for hours on end if you weren't at home with your Neos or all your tins of pencils. As long as it's water based, you can work this way. So thank you for watching.